Welcome to a special edition of Up the Middle. I'm Yergz. Welcome. And today we've got something special. So, not everything we do here at Up the Middle is political. Sometimes we find somebody that's a positive influence, either to me or to you or to both or everybody. And we bring them on, talk to them about it, let them tell their life story. And that's what we're going to do with our next guest. He was 16 when he started professional BMX. He's done modeling, now into eco farming, and also still in BMX and also coaching. Welcome, Will Grant. Will, thanks for joining us.
Hey, how you doing, Yergz? Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So I found you way back. Hopefully you were legal when I found you. You were this hot guy that I found on whatever, and continued to like your photos, follow, learned about you, and found out that some of the modeling you did on BMX type bikes was actually what you were doing for a living. Uh, as at that point a professional bike BMX racer. So tell us about that. How long have you been doing the BMX? When did you start? When did you actually go pro? So on and so forth.
Yeah, so I started racing BMX when I was 10 years old, and pretty much at 11 years old is when I fully committed into it, and I just knew I was going to be a pro BMX racer. As far as I really didn't give myself another option. And then I turned pro at 16 years old, and I'm still doing it today.
Nice, nice. So that's been for how long then? About how have you broken 20s, 30s yet? Where are you at?
Yeah, so I just turned 31 last month in May.
Nice.
So I've been pro, well, that's almost 15 years now, huh? Or about 15 years. And then, yeah, so I've been racing BMX. I think I started in maybe, what year was that? 2004, maybe 2003 or something like that. So yeah.
Wow. Awesome. Very cool. So as a 16-year-old pro in BMX, is there a lot of you? Or you kind of
No.
into the big guys?
Yeah, yeah. So I was definitely in there with the big guys. 16 years old is the youngest you can turn pro in our sport. And yeah, like I said, it was just my, you know, main goal, my main focus. I was really tunnel vision on it, and I ended up winning the national title as a 16-year-old amateur for my age group. And I pretty much begged my sponsors every event after that to let me turn pro. And then a few months later, he agreed, he signed the ticket, and the rest is history.
Very cool. Awesome. So then and that's where you got discovered, as it were, to be a model during your BMX racing.
Yeah, yeah. So I was just out at the local track riding and training, and a BMX mom. So like she had her kids that raced BMX, and I was actually helping coaching them at the time, just helping them out to get better. And then um, their mom worked in the industry in some way, and she said that she was just looking for somebody kind of with my look that had some sort of bike skill or bike talent. And all I had to do was just shoot with this photographer to get some photos in, and she could get me a, a job. And just for some nice extra side money, and it ended up being
Right.
like a Circle K commercial for Polar Pop. And
Nice.
yeah, it was like one day I drove, I think it's like 4 hours or so to Miami, and I spent the day, in a huge studio and experiencing something I've never experienced before, and then end up being on a Circle K commercial.
Very cool.
And then after that, she just said, "Hey, work with another photographer and get some more photos, and I could probably get you a lot more side work if you want to." So I shot with another photographer, and then the photos kind of went viral.
Nice.
And after the photos got viral, I ended up signing with a couple agencies, and then I never really pursued modeling as a passion. I didn't go to like a lot of auditions or anything like that, but I would just get emails from the contacts that I had about once a week to once a month saying, "Hey, we have this job. It pays this much. Doing this. Do you want it?" And when I was in town and I had some free time, and I did it, and it was a really good experience.
Very cool. Yeah, and not bad money either. I know that,
Yeah.
firsthand, so I don't blame you.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. For like an 18-year-old kid just turning pro and kind of making my way, it was a pretty good opportunity to make an extra maybe a couple $1,000s a month sometimes.
that's awesome. So I've seen some of the videos. BMX is not exactly the safest sport you can get into.
No,
How often do you get banged up?
I mean, I've had some pretty gnarly injuries throughout my life, probably more than most, unfortunately. But 3 months after I turned pro, I ended up tearing my MCL, my PCL, my MCL, and both my meniscuses. Took a year to recover and heal and rehab that one. First race back, end up tearing everything again, and then after that, I end up breaking my heel. I've broken both of my collarbones. I've had a lot of pretty
Wow.
gnarly injuries. The list can go on and on.
Wow. So, well, I mean, you just had one recently, but I mean, pretty much you're back up, at least up back on your feet and moving around
Yeah,
and doing whatever.
yeah. Actually, 2 months ago, I was training myself and working with a couple of younger up and coming pros, and I just training with them is really completely out of my control. There was an athlete who's a very good athlete, like he's the Asian champion, he's the Japanese champion. He just made a little mistake and he fell in front of me and his bike hit mine in the air. I ended up breaking my collarbone, breaking my wrist, and dislocating my other shoulder completely out. And that was 2 months ago tomorrow. And I'm just kind of starting to finally get back to normal ish, and hopefully I'll be back on the bike in a week or so.
Nice. Nice. So you mentioned about, training other athletes. You're transitioning now into coaching. You're doing that kind of sort of at home. You built something at the farm.
Yeah, so you know, at, for the longest time, for probably about 5 years, me and my best friend slash teammate slash roommate, we lived in this house. And then there was an extra bedroom in the house, and we would always just have athletes from all over the world come and stay and train with us. Mainly our friends and people that we knew that wanted to come and train in Florida. And then it was going so well, and we just kept getting hit up by more and more pros from around the world who even we didn't know. So then we kind of started a little bit of a side business. At the
Very cool.
same time, we transitioned our whole front and backyard into an edible food forest. So like it was a really cool experience for these athletes to come and then stay in Florida, and then they're walking out in the front yard and they got mangoes and bananas and papayas and all these just like tropical edible fruits and vegetables. That was a cool experience. And then it's really been a lifelong dream to get land and to get property and to have our own little piece. And we've been, that was the clear goal for probably like 4 or 5 years, to get land and to just expand what we were already doing. And then yeah, he found a piece of property that was 10 acres originally, and it had just an old dilapidated house on it with some old beat up barns. And we've just been rebuilding it ever since. And
Wow.
how yeah, like housing more and more athletes. And so now there's athletes that come and stay with us, and we have like a bunk room in the back. We got 10 beds total. And I'm here and we're here to help them really groom these younger athletes, to teach them how to turn pro or to just learn how to make a living off the sport. So it's really cool to take everything that we've learned along the way and everything that I wish I had somebody tell me when I was
Yeah.
19 years old, to be able to pass that on and kind of create the place that I wish I had when I was 19.
Very cool. So you're doing more than just teaching them BMX.
Oh, a lot of times it feels like we're teaching these boys to turn into men.
Nice.
It's a really cool experience. So, the youngest we'll have is, as of right now, is a 15-year-old. So we have 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids who, are very talented and very high level in the sport, and they'll come in here and we literally just teach them how to live like a pro. And a lot of times when you have a 16-year-old kid there, you're teaching him how to cook for himself.
Yeah.
You're teaching him how to like have a good morning routine and like go to bed at a certain time and like kind of showing them that it is cool to take care of yourself. It is cool to take
Nice.
care of your mind and your body, and and if you really want to do this for a long time, like this is how to do it. And there's so much more that they're able to learn even outside of BMX, right? Like I said, we got 15 acres, and we got our own chickens and our own cows, and we're growing our own food. So they really get connected with their food and connected with nature, and they're learning how to live in a way that's good for themselves and good for their environment, which is really cool to pass on.
That's awesome. That's and I didn't even realize that. I mean, I kind of got with the farming and everything, but that you're teaching them really more than just BMX. I think is not only important. It's pretty amazing. So
Yeah,
here's some
yeah, it's
things.
like they come here for BMX, but then they learn where their food comes from,
Yeah,
they learn about composting, like, they learn about, mental health, right? Like, there's so many athletes that know how to train their physical body, but they don't know how to train their mind, right? And so
yeah,
there's just so much that they're learning, and we're learning too, because, we are seeing these top athletes from Japan, from Italy, from Europe, from South America, and, even the 15-year-old kid usually has a lot to teach us too, which is really cool.
nice, very cool. So this is what I was able to pull off of your Instagram and Twitter, and kind of like kind of encompasses big part of your career so far, um, from camping to, I mean, that's the middle is how I used to look, not so much anymore. And then the sport coat up in the top corner. I'm a huge dog guy. My other podcast is called The Doggy Traders, named
That's
after the
cool.
4 dogs that I've had, for day
Yeah.
trading. And then
Mhm.
obviously, the lower left. Where are all these photos at? And tell me about all 5 of them.
Yeah, sure. So I'll start with the bottom right because it's kind of funny. So when we first bought this property, like I said, it was an old, dilapidated house. So that's actually on this property, and I lived in a tent for 4 months while we rebuilt the house. And it was a pretty rad experience. Like I've always loved sleeping in tents and sleeping outside. Most of the time, I actually prefer to sleep outside. It's pretty brutal this time in the summertime, but um, especially throughout the winter, a lot of times I'm still sleeping out in the tent. And the middle photo was in Miami, from Louis Raphael. And that's one of the photographers that I worked with, where like a lot of the photos just went viral, and got me a bigger name for myself on social media, which ended up helping me find like my main sponsor, like my radar. And yeah, like was a huge part to like uplifting my whole career, honestly.
Right. I'm
And
actually
then
familiar with that photographer.
yeah, yeah, and the top right was taken by Michael Downs, who actually introduced me to Louis Raphael. And yeah, like he lives out in this area, actually in St. Pete, that I just kind of ran into one time, and we would shoot all the time. And those photos again were just um, going around the industry pretty quickly. That were just giving me a lot of more opportunities and a lot of experience. And the left photo is actually the exact same spot that I just wrecked on 2 months ago at Sarasota BMX. And that was pretty recently too, just probably right before I wrecked, or maybe a couple months before I wrecked. And then the top left is right where we're at right now, on my bed with my dog. Look, she's just right here with us behind. You can see.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I've
I've
got
had
one
her
sitting
since I
around
was
here somewhere
17
too.
years old.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
so she's 13 going on 14 now.
Very cool. That's awesome. So, merchandise, is that the jersey that you're wearing there that I'm getting, or what in the
Yes,
BMX
sir.
photo, or that's the
Yes,
same?
sir. Yep, yep, yeah, yeah. So that's our race jersey that we came out with, and the bottom right is our dry fit shirt. One of my actually like my biggest life goals is to make and build everything that I use on a daily basis besides technology and transportation, with the main focus on housing, food, and clothes. Right. So the
Very cool.
bare necessities is what I'm focusing on. That's kind of what we're doing at this farm. Like right now, we have 10 beds to house 10 people, and we're slowly starting with some merchandise items like some clothes and some pants and shirts and hats and just stuff that we need jerseys, right? We all need
Right.
or like as a BMX racer, we all need jerseys, we all need shirts. So we're kind of starting with the items that we need and we use, and then I kind of just want to keep going from there. And I want to learn how to, like the same way with the food, I want to learn how to make these things in a way that is good for the human, good for the planet, good for the environment, just good for the whole. A lot of people don't really realize or don't really think about of how toxic our food and our clothes actually really are. Most of it are made from really toxic materials, and just the whole way that they're made is really toxic. And I'm learning more and more about it, just trying to make my own clothes and trying to go through the process of growing my own food. You know, it's been really eye opening, and it's not easy to make it in a way that is good for yourself and good for the environment, but that's kind of my life mission at this point.
Right. Excellent mission, excellent work. Definitely. TheWillGrant.com is the website. And then also anywhere you want to be at the Will Grant. Is that the handle for social medias?
Yeah, so you can go at the Will Grant for Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, maybe even TikTok as well, I'm pretty sure. And then my website is thewillgrant.com as well.
Yeah, the next thing is gonna be the hat. I wear kinda a
Yeah,
very similar hat on the water. It's got the chin strap, so at 70 miles an hour, it doesn't go anywhere.
yeah.
Uh, but I love that you had, like, the pockets and all the crazy stuff that you put into it. Pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Yeah, we have a bucket hat, right? Because we're always out in the sun. If we don't have a helmet on, we're out there working on the track or working on the
Nice.
farm, and it's just a nice bucket hat kind of just protects the face. And then it has what we jokingly call like a little contraband pocket, right, in the inside
Very cool.
where it's like a secret pocket.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Will, definitely. Thank you for joining us, and we'll definitely be in touch, get an update on the farm and the coaching, and, hope to, recover soon from the breaking bones.
Sweet, man. Thanks for having me.
Alright, we'll see you again. That's it for this edition of Up the Middle. Keep in mind, we're here every Wednesday, anywhere you want to be at Up the Middle. And again, we'll see you again next week. Thanks for joining us. We killed the virtual background for this last part. Check up right here at yergz.com for anywhere you want to be to find Up the Middle. We'll have a placeholder there so that you can see or hear Up the Middle whenever you want, wherever you want, on whatever directory or social media application you like to use. Thanks for watching and listening. This episode and every episode is sponsored by Aroma by Peter. Aroma by Peter is what we use here in Studio Yergz and throughout my entire house, really. His scents are amazing. They fill the room. They're the Aroma by Peter. They're the right level of aroma for the room. Aroma by Peter / Yergz to get yours. Finally, gang, if you made it this far, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, check out all these other videos and our other channel, Talk TV 24. Subscribe to that and hear it up the middle to stay tuned. See you again.